Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans, and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist, and internationally published author, helping take your life, your business, your health and fitness and body, but best of all, your mindset from where you are to becoming unstoppable. And today's a milestone episode. It's 150, and I thought this topic was really relevant to today's episode. So I wanted to talk to you about how long do we celebrate? So we can celebrate the 150th episode on between this and my Rob Evans 365 podcast. I've done over 1,000 podcasts now. I do them daily, and it requires effort to be able to do it consistently day after day after day. And I do two a day. So it's quite exciting to be able to condition yourself to do this. But I thought, how long do we celebrate for? And I've broken it down into 5 different areas. And I think the first point is when it comes to achievement, it's really important to acknowledge what it is that you've achieved. And I think it's also a good idea to be reconciling your result with the effort that you've put into it. For instance, we're talking about celebrating. So you've achieved a good outcome, but is it the true outcome that you wanted? Is it as big as you wanted? So if I think about my own personal transformation this year, is it exactly what I had envisaged? And I would say, no, it's not exactly what I'd envisaged, because I can remember the image I had in my mind of how deeply I wanted my six-pack to be, and I didn't achieve that. What I achieved was still significant and something better than I've ever achieved before, but it wasn't exactly what I had pictured in my mind at the start of the year. Now, as my strength and conditioning coach says, you are basing that on something that you've never done before and something you've never seen in your body before. So maybe that was being unrealistic because you may not be able to achieve that. My mindset is, of course I can achieve it. I just didn't this time. I will do it next time. So I do think it's worth reconciling the result versus effort. So again, if I look at my situation, did I put in the effort this year? And I would say absolutely. Every single day I was focused, and I think the photos, if you go to my Facebook page, you can see those. I believe that the effort that I put in does match the result. Did I get exactly what I wanted? No. That's what I'm working on for my next year's journey. But I think it's really important, because if you haven't achieved the result that you want, you need to look at, so what effort did you put in? And the first reflex action could be, oh, I couldn't have worked any harder. But really, could you have? And if I pull apart my year, could I have worked any harder? Well, I think there are probably days where I could have, and maybe not necessarily hard, but maybe smarter. And you don't know what you don't know. So I didn't know how my body was going to respond at different times when I tweaked the training or tweaked the food, to know exactly also, how's this going to show up in a couple of weeks' time through my body. What I did know was that the approach I was taking was science-based. It was working. I was seeing real muscle growth. It was being measured by like a DEXA scan. So I could see that, yes, my body fat levels are definitely dropping. I have definitely put on muscle. I can physically see through the scan where the fat is and where it's not, and how my body is changing. And the numbers don't lie. So that was a really important one, as well as taking the photos to see, okay, this is exactly what I look like at these particular times. And so I can work backwards. I can compare last time. I've tracked all my food, all my exercise, and I can see, okay, these were the weights that I was hitting. Do I need to hit those same weights or better to achieve the same result or better next time? Well, obviously I'm only going to want to achieve a better result. So I need to start at a certain point, say, okay, I need to exceed where I was last time. But because I've got it all tracked, I can see what I've done to how I've gotten there. I can reconcile it and say, well, yeah, I think I've done a really, really solid effort this year. I didn't get exactly what I'd pictured in my mind, but I've never seen it before either. So maybe what I achieved was all that I was able to achieve this year. Now, I also believe that things happen for a reason, and maybe I didn't get exactly what it was that I'd had pictured in my mind. Why? To keep me hungry for keep on moving forward. So let's just park that for a moment. Happy with what I've got. So that I've reconciled it with my effort. Go to step 2, which is really all about I think basking in the glory of what you've been able to achieve and sharing the experience with others. So what I did was I waited for a number of weeks. And then I decided to post them on social media, my before photo, my after photo, with the story about, or part of my story as to how I got there this year. And what I did, I posted in two different forums. One that probably you guys won't be able to see because it's a different group, but you can certainly see it in my Rob Evans or my studio's personal training Facebook pages. And the number of comments that I've received on both, and certainly combined because they're different people, is the most commentary I've had on any post I've ever done. Like, it's hundreds of comments, all really supportive. People saying, "Oh wow, that's amazing." Now, why has this been an important thing to do, to share my experience? Well, I don't think it's about ego boosting, but it is. I think I can get so tunnel vision sometimes, and I can get so in the zone of, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, that sometimes I don't take a step out of that tunnel to look down and say, wow, look how far I've gone through the tunnel. Look what I've been able to achieve. And when other people see it, you can actually maybe think to yourself, wow, actually, I have done really well. And that's what I've taken away from this experience. I thought I'd done a solid effort, but when all of the comments have been coming through, I'm like, wow, well, maybe I need to reassess and assume that I've done actually a better job than I thought. It's good to have high standards, but I think it's also good to share the experience so that you can feel good about what you've done. And, getting that positive feedback is also really, really positive. Now, obviously, I haven't had this close discussion with my strength and conditioning coach yet. But when I do, I'm going to be talking to him about, well, this is what I had imagined. How do I achieve that look? Where do I go to from this next stage? And I'm going to talk about that again in a second. But I think life is it comes down to a number of experiences, doesn't it? I mean, life is about experiences. That's the joy of life, sharing things with others. And it's not about what we accumulate along the way, the money and all that kind of stuff. It's about the experiences. And I think when you do achieve something significant in your life, whether it's through your business, relationships, whatever, I mean, you think relationship-wise, we share our weddings, we share our engagements, we share our births, we share deaths as well. And most of those are beautiful experiences, at least in our sadness at funerals. We're still connecting with people and remembering the past and celebrating a life that was once shared with us. So I just think it's a really, really important step, and I don't think we do it enough. I say, bask in the glory of what you have achieved. Step 3 is around what could you have done differently. And I think this is a really important process for any high achiever. You want to examine what you've done, what you could have done differently. Like in step 1, where I said reconciling your result versus your effort. In terms of it, there are some things that I would have done differently. And for instance, if I use this as an example, prior to working with my strength and conditioning coach, once a week I would put my body through a cleanse. And that's a supported cleanse through using the Isagenix products. And it basically involves intermittent fasting for one day. And I would do that one day a week. And that worked really well for me to help get my body fat levels down. It's what inspired me to do this challenge this year. But my strength and conditioning coach is not really into that. So what I said was, I'm not going to do it, because I didn't want him to say, you're not getting the result that you said you wanted because you're doing this, and I don't believe in it, kind of thing. So I said, okay, I'm not going to do it while I'm working with him. So what I would do differently is I'm going to have that discussion with him now and say, well, this is the result that I got. I want to reintroduce this into my lifestyle because I really enjoy it. I do it on a Monday. It works well with my lifestyle. I feel fantastic. I know it's helping me release toxins. And, when I talk about toxins, I'm talking about what we breathe in, what we consume through our food, what we maybe drink in our water and other things. Because I'm working out quite a lot. It is the toxins that are generated within my body from lactic acid burn, the sore muscles, the tissue breakdown, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's an important process for athletes. So that's something that I would do differently. The other things I would probably do differently is my body's in a different position now. So when I started this journey at the start of the year, in January, I was about 3 months after my surgery, 4 months after my shoulder surgery. So I wasn't hitting the ground at, I can go 100%. So I was slowly building up for a number of months to get to where it is that I want to. So what I would do differently now is I would start training heavier earlier. There was a physical limitation on me being able to do that last time, but this time I can certainly approach that differently. The other thing is, because of what I was working towards this year, I didn't have a break. I had actually two layoff weeks where my shoulders were getting a little bit sore. I was starting to plateau, and more so with COVID as well, I was losing my enthusiasm to train. So my coach said, you need to have some time off. And he said, look, what we should have really done is had a couple of breaks through the year. So maybe after every 12-week cycle, we're working 12-week cycles, 3 monthly cycles, need to have a week off or maybe longer. And that might be a week out of the gym altogether and just doing some walking and stuff, but no strength training. And then over a couple of weeks, easing back into it. So not having a week off and then going bang straight into hitting personal bests and stuff again, but having a week off, going back into the gym in that second week and just having fun, just doing maybe some different workouts. And then in week 3, effectively getting back into the heavy training again, or maybe it's week 4. And I think in that way, my body would have recovered a little bit better. I wouldn't have been so tired. It was just a really, really, tough year with COVID and everything as well. My gym being closed and where I normally train if I'm not training in my own studio. So, it was just a challenge, but I didn't have access to the same equipment and all that kind of stuff. So that would be something I would do differently as well. I'd be getting back into the commercial gym and just using different equipment. So that'd be one thing that I would do. So when it comes down to you, I think same thing. What are you going to do differently? Whether it's your health, your fitness, your business, that thing that you've achieved, it's like, okay, could I have gotten a better result from that? And then step 4 is about what's next. Looking at, I've got this result, I've celebrated, but what am I going to do now? Because I think it's really important when you're looking for that next level of success, that continuous growth, that you don't rest on your laurels. And you've got to keep focusing on what's that next thing. So my goal all of this year was up to the 12th of November and then the 19th of November when I had to submit my entry to the IsaBody Challenge. I'll find out, I think it's about the 16th of January next year. So I've still got some time to wait to see whether I did make it as a finalist. That was my goal this year, to make it as a finalist. If I then make it as a finalist, my goal is then to win the Australia-New Zealand body challenge. If I win that, it's then to win the global challenge, which is in the US later. It'll be next year. Later next year, probably, or maybe even 2022. We'll see. So that has been my big goal. Now, I didn't know what I was going to do after that point. So I thought everything is focused just on getting there. It's a bit like saying, I'm going to get to the Olympics and win a gold medal. Then after that, I'm going to go to the World Championships. I'm going to go to X, Y, Z. It was everything about the Olympic gold. And so once I'd done it, to be honest, the next day, do you know what happened to my body after the very next day? I kind of fell into a bit of a heap. I was so tired. I was washed out. And it was almost like I'd put so much in this year. And when, you've done it, and then it's like, oh, man, it's over. And so it was really in that next day, and certainly the day after that, that I said, I know what I want to achieve. Up to that point, I wasn't thinking about anything beyond the 12th or 9th of November. And I said, you know what? I know what I want to achieve. I was looking at the photos and I said, okay, I want to build more muscle. I want to build more muscle around my shoulders. I want to build bigger arms, more of a V shape through my back. Because if you look at the photos, you can see that my legs have always been my best feature. And now I think it's time that I've had my shoulder surgeries and everything. I can build some more muscle on my shoulders, and I can get more of that V shape. in my body. So I thought, yeah, I think if I can put on another couple of kilos of muscle through there, I think that will help me and get that deeper cut through my abdominals. That's my goal for next year. So I'm already laser focused on that. That's a really critical element of this, thinking about what am I going to do next. And then once you've done that, step 5 is about just go and do it. Just start. So I've already started. I'm not going super heavy yet. I am letting my body have about a month of, kind of recovery time. So I'm not doing super heavy lifting yet, and I won't until I have my coaching session with my strength and conditioning coach, so we can work out exactly what the program is moving forward. It's not that I'm lifting light at the moment. I'm still pushing myself to, it really hurts, but just different sort of training. So I'm doing some of my older programs, having a lot of fun back in the gym, using some other equipment. And like today, I trained today and it was a light day because I had kind of twinged my shoulder a little bit. So I just had a light day, but had a great workout just the same. And so that's my 5-step approach to working out how long you celebrate. So in terms of time, I think each person is going to be different. I mean, I think for me, I've probably been celebrating in myself once I'd achieved it. And I saw those photos. I'm like, man, and I'd submitted my entry. I'm like, man, you know what? You've done a solid effort. But then I pretty much glossed over it. And it wasn't until I posted my story last week or a few days ago. And I, with my national team, with Isagenix, I did a presentation to them just about 4 nights or 5 nights ago now. And the feedback that I got from them, they were just blown away by my commitment, my story, the results that I've achieved. And I guess because I'd been so focused and set my targets so high, I didn't consider what I'd achieved in the end to be as great as other people have perceived it. And in some ways that's good because I'm hungry, and I'm still hungry to achieve that. And if I think about my business, this year has been better, not only for my body, but the best year for my business ever, despite having COVID and all the challenges and homeschooling and doing all those things. And I haven't rested on any of that. I've thought, wow, great job, but let's keep moving forward. So this week I probably celebrated for probably about 4 days. I'm looking at all the comments and like, wow, people are really blown away with this, and they can really see the change. I mean, you go look at the photos, you can see there's a huge change. And because I was living in my body each day, I guess I don't realize, like I wasn't going back and comparing what I was at the start. I'm comparing where I am now and getting to that next level. And isn't that like a great attitude to have, especially when it comes to our business? It's not like, okay, I've earned $1 million, so look how far I've come. I was 0 and now I'm $1 million. Fantastic. But you're always looking for, okay, how do I get to 1.1 or 1.2 or 2 million or 3 million, 10 million, whatever. It's continually looking for that next step. And it's only when you do take that step back and you say, wow, look how much I've changed, look how much I've grown in business and everything, that you can, I think it's a good idea to just celebrate with others like I have this week. And it's been, I think, really powerful. And so what does all of that do? Well, it boosts your self-confidence. Now, the physical part of it certainly builds the self-image, but the sense of achievement in whatever area of your life, it builds that self-confidence. And what does it do? Well, if you've gone to this level, now you want to go up here, most likely, if you're like me and you want to achieve more and you just want to keep going up and up and up. And so that's what I love about this whole process, acknowledging the achievement and reconciling that effort to the result. I can't speak at the moment. Number 2 was about basking in the glory of the success and sharing it with others. Number 3, really critically assess what could you have done differently. And don't say, oh, no, nothing, I couldn't have done anything differently. There's always room for improvement. This is why having the coach is really important. So again, these are questions that I'm going to be asking him and saying, look, what do you think I could have done differently? And throwing back at him the things that I think I could have done differently, and bouncing around those ideas. And he might say, no, I wouldn't do that. because of these reasons. And I've got a series of questions for him as well, when like the changes that we made and when we made them and what was the impact of those, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's really important. And then step 4 was about what's next. Let's really work out a challenging goal for that next level that you want to achieve, and then just go at it. Create a plan and just go for it. You can't just say, all right, well, I want to get to that next level of my body. I want to get to that, that 2 million or whatever it is in your business. You need to have a plan. And then once you've got that plan, go for it. Like it doesn't, like it's burning, but nothing can stop you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The soles of your feet are burning so much. You know how hard you've worked to get to this particular thing you're celebrating. Work even harder to get to that next level. So if you want to know how to get started with your journey, then go to the mentaltoughnessandbodyshow.com, opt in for a free consult with me, and I would love to connect and have a conversation with you. Have a great day. Stay safe wherever you are in the world. I will see you tomorrow.